bombed their way to a Game 4 win on the road in San Antonio. Their first in San Antonio since March of 2012. That ended a 14-game losing streak. More importantly, they've tied up their first-round series at 2 games apiece. Post-game coverage starts right now here on NBA TV. Brendan Haywood, Jim Jackson, I'm Matt Weiner. Denver played better, obviously, but the biggest difference when you look certainly at the box score, if you watch the game, three-point shooting, the Nuggets were plus 30 from the three-point line.
Well, listen, for a large part of this game, they were shooting 50% from three, so when, they ended up shooting around about 48. But when you shoot the three at that high a clip, you're going to win most of your games with that. That normally means the ball is moving around the perimeter. Guys are getting good shots. When you hit that high percentage of your threes, that means you have a high assist number as well. And that's what the game is all about today. The game is all about spacing and three-point shooting. And when you're hitting a high percentage of your threes, you have a great chance to win that ball game. That's the main reason why the Nuggets were able to prevail today.
You think about it, too, the manner in which they got those three-point shots. It was off of a quick pass, a dribble, quick decision, 25 assists on 40 made field goals. So that means the ball was spread around. And when you're able to knock in shots, this is the 38% for the season's three-point shooting team. So now you're talking about 48%.
Right.
Can that carry you through the rest of this series? We don't know. But if you get these kind of high-quality shots where you make a quick decision, you maintain the spacing, what that ultimately does for Jokic inside, it allows him more room to just work. Okay, the driving lanes now become readily more available because you're able to stretch the floor by stretching the defense with those three-point shots.
Well, and Mike Malone has been talking about pace with this team, not just running via fast break and transition, but moving quicker within their offense, and that created a little space for them to get some of those threes. Jamal Murray obviously has been a major subject of conversation throughout this series. Up to this point, he'd really had one great quarter, that fourth quarter in Game 2 when he had 21 points. Otherwise, pedestrian to below average, certainly by his standards, but he goes for 24 tonight, 8 of 14. How much better was Jamal Murray in this game?
I think he was more comfortable. But I think today, when we look at young players, because he has potential, we want him to understand how to play and be effective in the playoffs right away. And it doesn't just happen. You can't turn on the light switch when you haven't been in this situation. So a lot of times with players like Murray, you're going to see doesn't just happen. You can't turn on the light switch when you haven't been in this situation. So a lot of times with players like Murray, you're going to see the inconsistency until he figures it out. But when he's on, and Mike Malone said this, Brendan, that he's one of those guys that we got to continue to say, just keep shooting.
The thing is, you can't run from your shots, and Jamal Murray was never the guy that did that. 3D asked him, said, "Do shooters keep shooting?" And he said, "Yeah, you know it."
And you know it.
And because that's what he's all about. Yeah, you know it.
And you know it.
And because that's what he's all about. Like, listen, I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to make shots. I'm going to miss shots. And he's going to take some tough shots, but he's a tough shot take moment. And I like the fact that we're seeing a young player like Murray develop in front of our eyes. He had to play off adversity, made it through. Now he gets
Maestro, 29, 12, and 8 for him without a single turnover, which in the context of a playoff game, as much as he handles the ball, is impressive.
Yeah, well, listen, you know I got to show love to my bigs. You know, got to show love to the bigs. You know, they try to act like bigs are dinosaurs in this league, but I love how Jokic plays the game, and I love his versatility. It's almost like having a de facto point guard out there with what he's able to do as far as handling the ball at the top of the key with dribble handoffs. He's able to hit guys off pin downs, backdoor screens, and when you have a big that's that versatile, it opens up the playbook so much more. Could you imagine back in your day if you had a 5-man at the top of the key that could hit you on a backdoor cut or create a shot for you? Because what that also does is that pulls the center out of the lane, creates more space behind them.
You know, fortunately for me, I was able to play with someone like that, you know, which was Sabonis.
Yeah, I was going to say, Sabonis is one of those guys.
But that was on the back end of his career. But the same components you see in Jokic, you saw with Sabonis, Arvidas, because you can put him. The thing I love about players like this is he's a chess piece on the board. You can maneuver him all the way around and allow him to do a lot of different things, especially when he gets in the middle of the court, because now he's able to make plays. This is an excellent play here. Basically, he didn't pass it off, and they emptied out the strong side. The corner is open, the same thing here. You come off, empty out the strong side. Now it's just a one-on-one opportunity for a smart, intelligent player with multiple moves to put him in the spin cycle right there.
Blender.
But when you have someone like that, you can't just put him to one spot. Because his versatility right here, reading the defense, a little drop pass inside, knowing exactly where to put the ball and Murray finishing, with authority. When you have a player like that, you're able to put him around the court. Because now the defense is going to suck in, and you trust that he's either going to make a play for himself or he's going to open up some.
American fans didn't really see him,
No.
certainly not in the NBA, but that kind of passing ability from the high. Make their way to the podium in San Antonio as Denver gets the win 117-103, led by as many as 19 along the way. A couple things happened in the fourth quarter from a Spurs perspective. LaMarcus Aldridge did not play at all in the fourth quarter. Whether that's just a rotation change that Pop decided to make or a message he wanted to send, I don't know. He'll certainly be asked about it when he reaches the microphone here shortly. And DeMar DeRozan had a shorter night than maybe planned because he was ejected late in this game after a 19-point night for throwing the ball in the general direction of an official after a charge call.
Did we have the footage of that?
I've yet to see it, to be honest. I looked down.
There it is.
Okay, here we go.
I saw the charge and I didn't see what he did.
Right here.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Listen.
No, that's an easy call. And he was frustrated right there at the call. And even at the way the game was going, I do believe, too, this is a microcosm of a lot of different things that weren't going right. But not only himself, but San Antonio, you can see the frustration right there in the attempt to get the ball back to the official.
But DeMar is a veteran. He's been through playoff battles before. He understands there's going to be peaks and valleys. You cannot do this. You can't get this frustrated to the fact that you just throw the ball at the official. Now, I don't think anything's going to happen next game. It's definitely probably going to be a fine, and he was thrown out of this game. But you have to keep your cool. You're a leader of the team, and to a certain extent, you want to show your team that you're not melting down. You're not overreacting. Like, hey, we lost this game. Okay,
take that
but
L,
we're going to take this L. We're going to go to the locker room. We're going to regroup and practice tomorrow. We're going to watch film, and then we're going to come out better, and then we're going to win the next game. When you're the leader, you don't want to sometimes show that level of frustration and panic.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see with the press conference with Pop why LaMarcus didn't play.
Well, let's find out right now.
All right.
What bothered you most about the defensive performance?
It was poor. Overall, the Nuggets competed and we did not. Their physicality was obvious from the get-go. You knew that was going to happen and we did not respond. So it was a very disappointing loss because I think the Nuggets played harder and smarter than we did. And it's the playoffs. So to have a performance like that is very, very disappointing.
Coach, I know you said the defense was poor, but the mental focus, after you see a 5-second violation, was it there tonight at all?
I just mentioned that we didn't play as hard as they did and we didn't play as smart. So that should tell you about the focus.
Did they do something defensively to limit the three-point shooting, or is it just a collective struggle for the bench right now to score?
It's just an overall approach to the game. They wanted the game more than we did, obviously. And that came out in their physicality, their movement, their communication, all those sorts of things. And we just followed them around, acted like it was going to happen.
I don't believe that LaMarcus played in the fourth quarter. Was there an injury there, or was that just a rest given the circumstances of the game?
No injury.
How do you think Derek responded to being maybe a little bit more of a focus to Denver's defense tonight? Derek responded to being a little bit more in the crosshairs tonight after what he did in Game 3 or whatever that was.
I think this is a great education for him. Last game and this game, he was a completely different player tonight at both ends of the court. He's a young, dedicated guy who is going to keep learning, and in a way, this is a great experience for him because every young player has to go through it, and he felt it tonight at both ends.
What was your reaction to DeMar's being ejected?
I don't know. Did you see me? Did you watch me? I don't know what I did. I continued to coach the game. I didn't say anything to him.
Well, Pop, the Nandas give you guys 7 minutes in only 5 minutes. What did you get from this center?
You know, he's a good basketball player. He's a Lithuanian. You know, it's kind of like, you know, some of these other countries that seem to find big, long guys who understand how to play. He's just a smart basketball player. He's been playing a long time, coached over the years, you know, no matter where he's played. So he just came out and played. He doesn't really know what we're doing. He just came out and played. He doesn't really know what we're doing. Just the basic NBA kind of stuff he can do, and that's what we did while he was out there. And he was fine. He was out there, and he was fine. Thank you.
All right, let's take a look at the highlight from Game 4 in San Antonio. Lineup change for the Nuggets. Torrey Craig in for Will Barton. Marcus Aldridge knocking down the three from the corner. They go inside to L.A. This was tight throughout the first half. Marco Bellinelli, no. And again, it's Aldridge making things happen inside. Will Barton coming off the bench tonight finds Nikola Jokic, and then Jokic banging down low and hitting.
Joker was an absolute animal inside tonight. 29 points, 12 rebounds. No one had any answers.
DeMar DeRozan doing his thing, spinning mid-range, of course. Jokic, patient.
Who was in a China shop?
They were tied up at 54 at the half. Third quarter. We're launching.
Why not?
Only 3 Jokic hit on the night in 4 tries.
Pass. Oh, watch out, Rudy. Ooh,
Jamal Murray. Murray had 9 in the third quarter alone. Feeling a little better about himself. Jokic facing up and knocking down. He was 10 of 22 from the field.
And this was a difference right here, the 3-ball with the Nuggets going 15 for 31 opposed to the Spurs at 5 for 17.
No, believe it or not, they shot it better in Game 3, 15 of 29 in Game 3. Turned it over a little more, gave up a lot more points off turnovers as DeRozan hammers that home, finished with 19 on the afternoon. It's 10, 18 points and 8 boards for Craig.
Yeah, Torrey Craig does a lot of little things. Coach Malone always try to figure out matchups. You see DeRozan here not happy.
Craig.
Yeah, Torrey Craig does a lot of little things. Coach Malone always try to figure out matchups. You see DeRozan here not happy with the call.
So here's the question. Does DeRozan's aim as a baseball passer bad, or was he just throwing in the general direction of the referee?
Doesn't matter.
Both. How about that?
If he hits the referee, it's a whole different consequence.
Yeah.
He knew he didn't want to hit him, but he wanted to send him a message.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's both.
And he
And
intentionally
don't worry, the league's going to send him a message.
Was it
What
more
do
of
you
a brush
I don't know,
back
maybe
pitch?
25?
Yeah, more of a brush
I don't know,
back
maybe
pitch.
25?
Yeah, 25 sounds. More of a brush back pitch.
Or warning,
Yeah.
warning,
Yeah.
too close to the plate.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
instead of throwing at him intentionally. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
117 to 103 is the final as Denver ends a 14-game losing streak in San Antonio. Here's their head coach, Mike Malone. Here's their head coach, Mike Malone.
Coach, can you describe that second and third quarter from what you've seen from your guys, and at what point did you know that game was yours, to take?
I don't know.
From what you've seen from your guys, and at what point did you know that game was yours, to take?
I don't know if I ever knew it was, ours to take. The Spurs are always going to make a run. Patty Mills got going, but I just loved how we responded to that first quarter. They came out and jumped us. They shot 79% in that first quarter. We only had 1 assist in the first quarter, but we settled down. The guys off the bench came in and did a great job. And when we put our starters back in the game, they were fantastic. So to win quarters 2, 3, and 4 on the road, I know all the people back home know this. The Denver Nuggets had not won here since 2012. It's a long time. And for it to come tonight in Game 4, which allows us to take back home court advantage, even makes it that much more special. So very proud of our guys. Jamal Murray responded from Game 3 to Game 4. Torrey Craig, I make a change in the lineup, and he goes out there and plays phenomenal on both ends of the floor. So hell of a win for us. We still have a lot of work to do. We'll watch the film, we'll learn from it, and try to be even better next game at home.
Coach, you challenged your players to be a lot more physical in this game. How do you think they responded to that, and what really propelled them to be that good in quarters 2, 3, and 4? Yeah,
I think the ball movement was terrific after quarter 1. Once again, only 1 assist. I think in that second quarter we had 10 or 11. The defense picked up. Things that hurt us in Game 3, like I learned this a long time ago from Jeff Van Gundy when I got in the NBA. You got to understand why you win and why you lose. And we explained to our guys after the game. We watched the film yesterday. We lost because of points off turnovers, second chance points. They still got in the paint too much, but a much better job. Only 11 points off turnovers. Much better job, second chance points. So I think our guys understood how we needed to play, and they answered the call, TJ. They went out there and were much more physical, and we were able to pull out the win.
Along those lines, you challenged Jamal to have a great game throughout, not just one great quarter. The rebounding, the physicality. You're down 2-1. You hadn't won here in 7 years, like you said. This was a balls on the table game. How do you think your guys reacted, and what did you see from them tonight that you hadn't seen previously?
Yeah, I saw a lot of balls on the table. To rephrase your question. I saw confidence. That's what I saw. I saw a young team that was not thinking about 2012. Because if you think about the last 7 years, that's going to overwhelm you. We're living in the present. We're living today. Game number 4. And that's all we worried about. And, we've been close. We know we didn't show up the way we needed to show up in Game 3. And our guys answered. It wasn't just vets. It was a lot of young guys. Torrey Craig gets his first playoff start. He was in the G League last year, and he has that kind of a game. Monte Morris was in the G League last year, playing great off the bench. Jamal Murray from Game 3 to 4 looked like a different player. He goes out, gets 24 points, 6 assists, only 1 turnover. And you feel bad because you don't talk about Nikola sometimes because you expect greatness from him every night. He was fantastic. So, and I think Will Barton, those are tough discussions. You're taking a guy out of the starting lineup. This wasn't about Will. It was about I felt it was the best interest of our team. But Will gets 12 points off the bench and hits 3 threes. So everybody stepped up. But I saw a confidence, a belief in one another that is necessary to come in here and win a game like we did.
Why was it Torrey that you ultimately, right here?
I'm sorry.
Why was it Torrey that you ultimately landed on to move into the starting lineup and not a guy like Malik?
Yeah, obviously it was a tough decision. I could have gone with either one of those guys. I wanted to put Torrey Craig on DeMar DeRozan. I think Gary's done a phenomenal job. I think Torrey's the best matchup on him. After 36 from Derek White, I wanted Gary to guard him. So our 2 best perimeter defenders on their 2 best perimeter players. And the other thing was for Malik. Malik could easily have been that guy, Harrison, but I think it was really important to keep Malik in his comfort zone. He had been coming off the bench, playing a high level against their bench unit. He, Monte, and Mason have great chemistry and synergy on the court. I didn't want to mess that up. I'd be lying if I said I knew Torrey Craig was going to go out and get 18 and hit 5 threes. But his defense, his rebounding, his shot making, and Malik was still fantastic off the bench. So it was just kind of I didn't want to mess up the rhythm of that second unit.
In particular, you said you wanted to see more fire from Jamal. What did you see on that dunk, and did you like to see him respond like that?
Yeah, I think overall his whole game, Mike, was a really positive sign in how he responded. And we've talked a lot the last couple of days, and I told our players that were going on the court, said enough talk. We can talk till we're blue in the face about, hey, we're going to hit him first, all that. Go out there and do it. That's what you have to do. and we were able to do that. And Jamal, obviously, with that dunk, fired him up. But I thought he was a lot more engaged. I thought he played a lot harder, played with a lot more urgency. And I'm not surprised because we all know what Derek White did last game. So I think we all took it personally.
Looked like Nikola really came out looking to shoot. What did you just think about your best player, looking to get his in a game you really need to have?
Yeah, I mean, 29 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, no turnovers. The guy's an incredible player. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes you forget to mention him because you expect it every night. But Nikola being aggressive offensively, knowing they're double teaming, picking his spots, putting him in more pick and roll, pick and pop, hit him on the short roll, let him make plays. So, that's what excites me. Seeing all these guys step up excites me. Seeing all these guys step up in big moments. And this is the first time they're all going through it. And I think they've responded really, really well. And the work's not done. The series is tied. There's a lot of game to be left to be played. But Nikola was fantastic tonight. And you're right, he's our best player. And he responded in a big way when we needed him to.
Coach, I know that over the summer when the team signed Will Barton to that deal, starting was important to him. Is there anything you can share about the conversation you had with him and just how he took it and was able to be confident off of the bench tonight?
One thing that I love about Will Barton, starter, and I asked him just, to of course he wants to start, but he went out there, was mature about it, and played to the best of his ability off the bench and helped us get this win.
We all know, we all know Craig's story, and he's great defensively. He's very athletic. What development have you seen during maybe even the course of this game?
I remember having a conversation with him last year, and I think you guys all know, the Denver media know how high I was on Torrey last year as a two-way player. He was a guy that I don't look, for me, I don't never look at when you were drafted, what round, what school. I don't care. If you can play, I'm going to play you. If you can help us win, I'm going to play you. And I have that kind of confidence in Torrey. But I remember saying to him last year, Bruce Bowen, right, a guy that played here, could guard in multiple positions and became a prolific corner three-point shooter. You've got to add that to your game if you want to be in the league for a long time. And then now it's a question of, all right, you're going to take that message to heart. Our player development coaches do a great job. Torrey deserves the credit, kids, because he's put the time in. So now, obviously, he's not just a one-trick pony. I can guard, but we're playing 4-on-5 on offense, and that's not the case. He moves well without the ball. He finishes. He rebounds. He defends. And obviously, he can make the three-point shot. So his confidence in shooting that ball is very high. And obviously, allowing him to shoot it, and he's never looking over his shoulder. Hey, is coach going to take me out if I take the ball, is very high. And obviously, allowing him to shoot it, and he's never looking over his shoulder. Hey, is coach going to take me out if I take an open three? If we take open shots, that's all I care about. So Torrey deserves so much credit for staying with it and improving his overall basketball game.
At what point did you stop talking and just said, just go play? And secondly, did they feel y'all the way that you wanted them to feel y'all tonight?
It was definitely an improvement, from Game 3, where I don't think they felt us at all. So even in that first quarter, they jumped us and they got off to such a good start. But I like their energy more tonight. I like the urgency. I like the fight. I could tell that guys were engaged a lot more than we were in Game 3. And then for me, we go through our pregame routine. We show the film and the coverages. And I say, you know what, fellas, how much more do we need to talk about? I mean, it's go out there and do your job and leave it on the floor. And they did that. Obviously, we had to kind of wake up a little after that first quarter and get back to playing our brand of basketball. And I think we did that at a high level for the last 3 quarters. Appreciate it, everybody.
Mike Malone's Nuggets look more and more like the team that earned the 2nd seed in the Western Conference. And their guard, Jamal Murray, looks more and more like a young star. We'll hear from him after the Nuggets win when we come back.